team to win the first quarter in each of the first 5 games went on to win the game. It was the second quarter on Tuesday that propelled the Raptors to a win. They built the lead as large as 40 at one point. And now Toronto is one win from the franchise's second ever appearance in the conference finals.
We have big goals ahead of us and big things that we want to achieve. But this is one of the goals that we want to achieve, is getting to the next round. And you never have these opportunities much. And when you have an opportunity to do this, you got to just throw it all out there on the line, because you never know when the opportunity will come back again.
Nobody wants to go home. Obviously, both of us is one game away from winning or losing, and like I said, you just have to have that same mentality that they have, or a better mentality, and go in there and try to get it done.
You got an opportunity to get a win, and this one actually would end a series, and that's what the whole goal was when this series started. So, listen, we know this is a tough place to play. We know they were going to have a lot of juice. We know that they're going to fight with desperation. We know all those things. Now can we act accordingly?
Back on Game Time Live with Isiah Thomas, Steve Smith, Jared Greenberg. Let's build off of what Nick Nurse was speaking about. We spoke to Roz about this last segment. That Philly crowd tonight could be a huge advantage for the Sixers. But Zeke, if things start to go bad early, that Sixer crowd's going to let the young Sixers know about it.
Yeah, it's not, but it's like that for every home team trying to defend. And
Philadelphia's different, though, right?
Everybody say their crowd is different. I'm just talking to you from a player's perspective. When you're trying to play out on the floor at home and you got to defend, it's hard to win a game at home. It's harder to win a game at home in this situation than it is a road game, because you do hear everything that the fans are saying, and their disappointments, their ups and downs, especially if you're not playing well. Now, if you're playing well, you come out, you go up 10, then it's great.
Right.
But if you start, missing shots early, that crowd can definitely get in your head. And everyone likes to say, oh, the Philly crowd is bad, the Boston crowd is bad, the Detroit crowd. But from a player's perspective, no matter where you playing at, hey, I watched San Antonio, lose a couple of games at home to Miami early, and that crowd got on them. So it really gets into your head if you start playing bad early.
Smitty, how vital is it for Embiid to impose his will early in this game?
Well, it comes down to how healthy he is. That's what we've been talking about, because I look at when he's not healthy, he's not talking. He plays better. He said, I play better when I'm having fun and happy. So go out there and have fun and happy, even if you're not healthy.
Fake it.
No, not fake it. Do what you do. I think if you're a trash talker and you like to talk, I talk to myself. Zeke, remember that I love to talk to get myself going. And when I was sick, I'm going to still keep talking. I might not, I'm going to keep talking, because you're going out there to compete. Because Isiah does not care if my ankle is hurt, my back. Not in the playoffs,
right.
He might come afterwards.
I'm glad your ankle hurt.
Smitty, you okay after they won? But during this series, there's nobody who's really feeling sorry for you. No one wants to see you be hurt. No one wants to see you get hurt. But I want to win. We want to win. And I think most crowds like Philly, they're not going to be upset if you're missing shots. They start rumbling and booing if you don't have that effort and you're not competing. That's when I think you start to hear those type of fans.
Some of those turnovers we saw from Embiid in Game 5.
I think what I look at is Detroit fans knowledgeable about basketball. Philly knowledgeable about basketball. You can turn it over if you turn it over the right way and you're on the other side and you getting it done defensively, and they saying, wow, he just had a bad game, but he brought it. Everybody want to just see you compete. If Philly competes, I think the crowd will be okay, win or lose. And that's what most crowds.
Let's talk about the other guys here on Philadelphia, which, there's been a lot made of how much the Sixers are feeding off of the energy or lack thereof from Embiid. Is it possible that Embiid doesn't have a great game, but Simmons and Tobias Harris and Redick and those guys, Zeke, can make up for it?
Yeah, it's possible they can do it. However, when Embiid is the nucleus, when he is the focus, right? He's the hub. And when the hub shows up and he says, I'm not feeling good, and he's inconsistent, he's up and down, it's very difficult for the the Tobias Harris's or the Simmons, and Wiggins is a vet, so he's able to overcome. But when your main guy shows up and he's the guy that you're looking at, he's the biggest guy in the series, he's the biggest, baddest dude on the block, but he's been so inconsistent with his health that you don't know if you can depend on him. Key word, you don't know if you can depend on him. That's troublesome.
Well, you know what, Jerry, let me be Embiid and he Isiah Thomas. And I'm under the weather. I'm sure Zeke gonna say, "What you got for me, big fella?"
Give me something.
And I'm gonna say, "Zeke, give me the first 4 plays. Let me see what I have."
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I gotta be able, even though I'm a competitor, Zeke, I'm not feeling it. And you saying,
I got it.
I got it.
Yeah.
I think I gotta see that from Embiid to start off the game.
Right.
I want it. I'm gonna dominate, and that, whether I turn it over, whether I get 2 offensive fouls, I feel you're competing, you're with us. And if I don't have it, I got to come to you, Zeke, and say, I'm going to be a decoy tonight, but I'm still here. And then that's when the next guys step up to 1A, 1B, 1C.
And that's the key word. You just gave me confidence, right? Because now I can trust you. I know we are in this together. Mm-hmm. But when you signal, if you didn't say this to me, but you told the other team, you told the other team, you told the media, I'm not feeling well, so forth and so on. And then I'm the last person you tell as a teammate that, hey man, I may not have it tonight. I'm looking at you cockeyed. I'm looking at you side-eyed like, I don't know if you with me, so I may have to go and try to do it on my own. And that's when the problem starts.
But let's quickly just hit on the Raptors. We know what Kawhi is capable of doing, and the Raptors love that they didn't need 40 points from him to win Game 5. Whether it's Lowry, Siakam, Ibaka, Gasol, Danny Green, who tonight needs to do what they did, if not more, from Game 5 again here tonight for the Raptors to end this series?
I think everybody needs to compete. I think if I'm on the Toronto side, I'm testing Joel Embiid off pick and rolls. I'm testing Joel Embiid. I'm asking Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol, let's test him. Let's run these first 4 or 5 plays where you get out and run and see where he's at. Let's run into these pick and rolls. Let's pound him and see where he's at. So I think the bigs can set the tone just so we can find out where Embiid is physically, mentally, and how much he's engaged. I think those 2 guys can set the tone.
100%. And I would involve him, like you said, in every pick and roll. And if I'm Kawhi, I'm coming off. If I'm Siakam, I'm coming off. Danny Green, I'm putting Embiid in every defensive situation because I want to test his energy. I want to test his commitment. I want to test his will. And we saw that's what they did last game. And I think 2 problems that they got now, Smitty, is that Danny Green got warm. And Siakam got back. He found his confidence. At first, 2 games ago, he kind of shaky.
Right.
The last game, he looked like he was back again. And it was like, okay, now those 3 guys out on the perimeter, they back.
And Zeke, to add to that, it looked like, Serge and Marc Gasol is finding how to play with each other. They hadn't played much together because of the trade. He came over late, and they never played at the same time. Now the combination, those 2 guys, I saw those 2 guys, not that they had anything, between each other, but they're communicating. Yeah, when I dive, you come here. When you see that communication and you see both guys doing like this, Zeke, they are on the same page and they're figuring it out. 2 bigs playing together.
And that jumbo lineup too.
Even Kyle Lowry, right, who has struggled miserably in a lot of playoff series. I'm not saying Embiid gave Lowry confidence, but Embiid saying, I'm not feeling that well, so forth and so on. Lowry saying, oh, we got a chance. His eyes got big. Oh, we got a chance. Big man ain't here. And then he messed around and had a good game, right?
Really good game,
so now all the Raptors, they done had good games and they feeling good, but you've sent out the distress signal that, hey, I may not be feeling that well on the Philadelphia side.
A reminder, as soon as this game is over tonight, come back, join us here on NBA TV for full, complete press conference coverage. We'll break down the game, whether it's the Raptors moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals or the Sixers extending the series to a Game 7. 8 o'clock Eastern, the start time tonight. We'll be with you until that.